back to episode 10 of Lancer Central. My name's TJ Wengert. Her name's Kiersten Freedman. And Kiersten, after that awesome intro music, are you ready to get things going?
Oh, there is no better motivator than the beginning of the Lancer Central music. And we've seen spring sports have already started off strong with double-digit wins in just 1 week, including women's golf down in Charleston, South Carolina. And then men's golf gets their start next weekend in Daytona Beach, Florida.
And looking at the baseball team that took 3 out of 4 against Maryland Eastern Shore, the softball team, winners of 6 in a row, and we expect great things from them, but also the tennis team living up to high expectations.
Women's tennis is already 4-1. Men's tennis has seen 2 Big South Conference Player of the Week awards so far, and women's lacrosse isn't doing too shabby either.
Speaking of Big South accolades, Caitlin Lucarelli, 7 goals in their 14-12 win over George Washington, and the hot start for spring sports has certainly caught the attention of Assistant Vice President of Athletics Communications, Chris Cook.
Crossover season is always very exciting here at Longwood whenever our winter sports are getting into their postseason play and our spring sports are opening. We certainly saw that come to fruition last week. We had a huge week, 13 wins for our department, the majority of which were from our spring sports. Baseball team had a huge opening weekend against Maryland Eastern Shore, winning 3 out of 4. Softball protected its home field at their season opening tournament at the Lancer launch. Lacrosse came out with a huge win against George Washington, 14-12, really a tough gut check performance for that group. And then both our men's and women's tennis teams are off to great starts, 4 wins apiece. So it's certainly been an exciting start to the spring. Our coaches, I know that they've been putting in a lot of work in the fall, and same thing with our players. And so to see them come out and get some wins right off the bat, that's huge in terms of momentum for the season and also just for the Longwood community in general.
Longwood men's basketball sits at 15-15 overall, 5-10 in the Big South Conference, and they're coming off of a game against the Campbell Fighting Camels. They actually lost that game, but one of the most entertaining contests we've seen all season.
Just 2 points held the Lancers from taking it over the Camels. We saw the battle of Shabuti and Chris Clemens. Longwood came out more aggressive in the second half. Clemens and Shabuti had 19 points equally, and I think if it wasn't for that block right in the final seconds from Chris Clemens, we might have seen a different outcome.
And Chris Clemens is an unworldly player, but again, a battle between 2 players, 2-point gods, if you will. Shabuti Phillips went toe-to-toe with Chris Clemens, which says a lot about Shabuti Phillips. But looking at Jalen Wilson, we talked about him a little bit in the last episode, but he's really starting to come in and hit his strides here at the end of the season.
Yeah, he's averaging 10 points a game, and then we thought Hampton last week, he hit 27 points, almost tripling his average per game. So he's really found his spot on the Lancers team.
And over the last 5 games, 16.6 points, 50% from beyond the arc. So again, a vital weapon on the outside, and they're going to need him. They're locked into the 9th spot in the Big South Conference standings, so they're going to hit the road either to Charleston Southern or to Hampton.
And either way, it's going to be the battle of dynamic duos. We've got Christian Keeling and Flanders Fleming Jr. over at Charleston Southern, and then Jermaine Marrow and Kaylin Fisher at Hampton. So they got to remember that they're playing against the team of 2.
Right, but Longwood, though they're going on the road, defense travels, and it'll help slow down those dynamic duos you were talking about. And going back to Shabuti Phillips, we actually got to talk to him after that game against Campbell and get his thoughts on that contest as well as moving forward into the postseason.
I feel like we executed well. Clemens made some tough shots. I feel like we had a really good chance to win. Moving forward, I feel like we're gonna make a good run in the tournament. I feel like we can win a tournament, conference tournament, and go to the NCAA tournament because we're getting better every day. And I feel like no team really want to see us.
Well, we've been talking about it for weeks now. The women's basketball team has seen an upturn to their season as conference play progresses, but in the last few games we've seen a little bit of a hiccup as they play some of the top teams in the conference.
Yeah, a slight bump in the road going against UNC Asheville Bulldogs and the Hampton Pirates, who sit at 3rd and 4th respectively in the Big South Conference standings, but those games could have turned out a little different. Look, against Asheville, they go 0 of 8 from beyond the arc, knock down a couple of those shots, it's a different game. And Alyssa Sweeney for the Hampton Pirates has a career day as a freshman. Again, without her performance, that game has played out a little different.
We did see that the Lancers outscored the Pirates 44-33 in the second half, so like you said, without Alyssa Sweeney, maybe that would have been different for them, and they might have split the series against the Pirates this season.
But going forward, still 3 games left in conference play for them to continue growing as a team. The next game is going to be tough at Hampton, one of the best teams in the conference, but the last time they played, it was only an 11-point margin, so they played a close contest. And then after that, Senior Day on March 2nd, that's one you got to have.
We're honoring 4 seniors, including Christina Antonego and Sierra Bennett. We see PC's a little bit weaker on the road. The Lancers are stronger at home, so maybe that perfect storm will allow the Lancers to come up on top. And then, they're only sitting half a game back from Upstate, so with that win versus PC, hopefully, and then Upstate is facing a 7-game losing streak right now. Maybe we'll see that combination that allows the Lancers to make it into the 9th seed.
Yeah, Longwood a half game back of the Spartans of USC Upstate, and then a game back of Presbyterian, so Longwood beats PC. Upstate and Presbyterian lose out. Longwood is vaulted into the 9th spot in the conference standings, which again, under a first-year head coach, a young team, still shows the progression in the right direction.
And then we see that final game on March 9th at Charleston Southern. And so maybe that sends it, we'll see the Lancers in that 9th seed, but there's only one way to find out, and that's to keep watching as we see the beginning of spring sports as well. And so we'll see you next episode for the entire Lancer Central crew. I'm Kiersten Freedman, he's TJ Wengert, and we're signing off.
Kiowa. I remember we were going to say that.
Kiowa.
Kiowa.
Kiowa.